The universe was supposed to be empty out here. Commander Sarah Chen pressed her palm against the cold metal wall of the Deep Space Monitoring Station Beacon 7. 3 years she'd been stationed on this floating metal can, 8 billion kilometers. From home, listening to nothing but cosmic static. Her coffee had gone cold hours ago, but she couldn't look away from the readings scrolling across her screen. "This can't be right," she whispered, her breath fogging in the recycled air. The signal was weak, buried under layers of interference. But it was there, and it was alien. Dr. Marcus Webb burst through the airlock, his gray hair wild from sleep. "Sarah, what's the emergency?" your message said. He stopped mid-sentence, staring at the wall of monitors that had transformed the quiet station into a light show of blinking alerts. "Marcus, look at this." Sarah's voice was steady, but her hands trembled as she pointed to the main display. "We're receiving a transmission from the Kepler 442 system. That's 200 light-years away." Marcus adjusted his glasses, squinting at the data streams. "That's impossible. No known technology can broadcast across that distance with enough power to it's not coming from just one source." Sarah interrupted her training as Earth's best xenosignal analyst taking over. "It's coming from dozens of sources, maybe hundreds, all broadcasting the same message on the same frequency." The older scientist moved closer to the console, his face pale in the blue light of the screens. "What does it say?" Danced across the holographic interface, isolating the signal and running it through the universal translation matrix that Earth scientists had developed based on mathematical constants. The computer worked for several tense minutes before spitting out a result. The translated message appeared on screen. Both humans fell silent. Asterisk, asterisk, urgent, urgent, asterisk, 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 asterisk. "We are the Zephyrian Confederation. Our worlds are under attack. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. The Devourers have found us. Asterisk, 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 asterisk. They consume all organic life. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. They move toward your galaxy. Asterisk, asterisk, asterisk. Prepare. Fight. Survive. Asterisk, 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 asterisk." Marcus stumbled backward, knocking over a chair. "The Devourers. Sarah, this has to be some kind of mistake. A hoax. Probability of it's not a hoax." Sarah's voice was cold as space itself. "Look at the power requirements for this transmission. Look at the quantum signatures. This is real, Marcus. If they're right," she paused, staring at the tactical display showing the path from Kepler 442 to Earth. "The Devourers could be here in less than 50 years. The station's AI suddenly came online, its calm voice cutting through their panic. "Commander Chen, incoming priority transmission from Earth Defense Command. Admiral Morrison requests immediate real-time communication." Sarah and Marcus exchanged glances. If Admiral Morrison was calling personally, Earth's military already knew something was coming. "Put him through," Sarah ordered. The main screen flickered, and suddenly they were looking at the weathered face of Earth's top military commander. His expression was grim. "Commander Chen, Dr. Webb, I assume you've received the same transmissions we have?" "Yes, sir," Sarah replied. "How long have Earth's deep space arrays been picking this up?" 12 hours, and it's not just us. Every major power on Earth is receiving the same message. The Zephyrians aren't just warning us, they're warning everyone they can reach." Morrison's jaw tightened. "We've confirmed similar distress signals coming from at least 6 other star systems. Whatever these Devourers are, they're cutting a path of destruction straight through the outer spiral arm." Dr. Webb stepped forward. "Even if this threat is real, we have decades to prepare." Surely Morrison's expression darkened. "Doctor, there's something else." 3 hours ago, our deep space telescopes detected massive gravitational anomalies in the Vega system. Something ... large. Just wiped out everything within 50 of that star. The light from that destruction won't reach us for another years, but the gravitational waves are already here. Sarah felt the blood drain from her face. Vega was only 25 light-years away. The Devourers had already reached it. ... Double quotes. How long do we have? She asked quietly. Our best estimates. 5 years, maybe less. Morrison's voice was steady, but Sarah could see the fear in his eyes. That's why I'm calling. Earth Defense Command is implementing Emergency Protocol 7 immediately. We're recalling every ship, every weapon, every soldier. But more than that. ... The Admiral paused, and Sarah knew what was coming. We're going to war. Not just Earth, every human colony, every corporate fleet, every military force we can muster. The Zephyrian's message was clear. The Devourers consume all organic life. That means there's no negotiation, no diplomacy, no surrender. It's extinction or victory. The transmission flickered as something massive passed between their station and Earth's relay satellites. On the long-range sensors, Sarah could see the first ships already moving, cargo haulers being converted to troop transports, civilian shipyards working around the clock to build weapons of war. Your orders, sir? Sarah asked. Morrison's smile was cold as the void between stars. Pack your bags, Commander. You're coming home. Earth needs every expert we have, because in 5 years when those things arrive in our system... ... He paused, his voice dropping to a whisper that somehow carried more weight than any shout. They're going to learn why humans don't go quietly into the night. The transmission cut out, leaving Sarah and Marcus alone with the endless stream of alien distress calls and the growing list of star systems going dark across the galaxy. Outside the station's viewport, the first Earth defense ships were already visible as tiny points of light, accelerating toward home at maximum burn. The largest military mobilization in human history had begun. But as Sarah watched the ships disappear into the black, one thought kept echoing in her mind. What if 5 years wasn't enough? Chapter 2. The Arsenal of Earth, 5 years later. The sight above Earth would have been impossible to imagine before the Zephyrian warning. Fleet. Admiral Zhongwei stood on the bridge of the EDS Retribution, the largest warship ever built by human hands. Through the massive transparent aluminum viewports, he could see the fruits of Earth's desperate preparation. 10,000 ships of every size and configuration, from nimble fighters to kilometer-long dreadnoughts, all arranged in perfect battle formation around the solar system. Admiral called Lieutenant Torres from the communications station, her voice tight with nervous energy. We're receiving the final status reports from all defense sectors. Zhang nodded, his weathered hands clasped behind his back. At 67, he was old for a fleet commander, but Earth needed experience more than youth. Display the tactical overview. The bridge's main holotank flickered to life, showing the entire solar system in miniature. Earth sat at the center, surrounded by defensive rings that extended all the way to the orbit of Neptune. Each ring sparkled with hundreds of ships and weapons platforms. Mars defense grid reports ready, Torres continued. Asteroid belt mining platforms have been converted to missile batteries, over 50,000. Nuclear-tipped interceptors online. Jupiter fleet is in position with our heaviest capital ships. And sir, she paused, double-checking her readings. The Luna Yards just launched the last of the orbital defense platforms. We now have more firepower in this system than existed in all of human space just 6 years ago. Any word from the colony fleets? Zhang asked. Alpha Centauri contingent arrived 3 hours ago. 200 ships, including their new experimental plasm cannons. The Tau Ceti industrial fleet is still inbound, but they're bringing surprise. Torres couldn't help but smile. Apparently they've managed to weaponize their mining equipment. Something about turning asteroid crushers into ship killers. Zhang almost smiled at that. Human ingenuity at its finest, turning tools into weapons when survival was on the line. What about our ... special projects? Captain Sarah Chen stepped forward from the science station. In 5 years, she'd traded her researcher's casual clothes for a naval uniform. But her eyes still held that same analytical intensity Zhang remembered from her first briefing. Project Prometheus is ready, sir. All 18 artificial intelligence, Cores are online and networked. They've been running combat simulations for 6 months straight. Their tactical predictions are—" She hesitated. "Disturbing, sir. Elaborate, Captain." "The A's estimate will lose 60% of our fleet in the first engagement. Maybe more. The Devourer's technology is simply too advanced." But ... Sarah's expression hardened. "Also confirm our primary strategy. We can make them pay for every meter of space. If we can force them to commit their full strength here instead of dispersing across human colonies, we might have a chance," Zhang finished. The bridge fell. Silent except for the hum of electronics and the distant rumble of the massive ship's engines. Every person in the room knew the odds. Earth's intelligence networks had managed to piece together fragments of data from the Zephyrian broadcasts and the handful of automated probes that had survived encounters with Devourer scout forces. The enemy was vast, not just technologically superior, but numerically overwhelming. Where humanity had built 10,000 ships, the Devourers had millions. Where Earth's largest vessel was just over 1 kilometer long, Devourer harvest ships were the size of small moons. But humans had advantages too. "Sir," called the tactical officer, Lieutenant Commander Park, new contact on the outer sensor grid. It's massive." Every head on the bridge turned toward the sensor display. At the very edge of the solar system, something was emerging. From hyperspace? The readings were off the charts, a gravity signature that dwarfed anything in their fleet. "Is it them?" Torres whispered. Zhang studied the readings, his heart pounding. Too early. The Devourers weren't supposed to arrive for another 3 weeks. "Battle stations," he ordered. "Wait." Sarah interrupted, staring at her screen. "Sir, I'm detecting a quantum beacon transmission. It's Zephyrian." The main display shifted, showing a battered vessel that looked more like a living organism than a machine. Its hull was scarred with weapon impacts. An atmosphere was venting from dozens of breaches. As they watched, smaller craft detached from the dying ship escape pods fleeing a vessel that was clearly beyond saving. "Incoming transmission," Torres reported. "Audio only, but it's coming through our translation matrix." A voice filled the bridge, alien, but somehow conveying desperate urgency in a way that transcended species. "Human vessels. This is World Speaker. Kethfer of the Zephyrian Remnant Fleet. Our ship is dying, but we bring crucial intelligence about the Devourer's capabilities and weaknesses. We also bring a gift, the location of their primary command vessel." Zhang exchanged glances with Sarah. "Put me through to them. This is Admiral Zhang of Earth Defense Command. You're safe here, World Speaker. How can we assist?" "No time." The alien voice replied, and now they could hear explosions in the background. "Devourer pursuit craft breached our hull. Ship will be lost in minutes. But Admiral Zhang—" The voice paused, and when it continued, it carried something Zhang hadn't expected to hear from a dying alien. Hope. "Admiral Zhang, your species' reputation precedes you. Why throughout the galaxy we have heard stories of human determination, of your refusal to surrender even when victory seems impossible. The Devourers have destroyed 100 civilizations, but they have never faced anything like humanity." The transmission crackled with interference as the Zephyrian ship continued to break apart. "We are transmitting all tactical data now. Learn their weaknesses. Strike at their command structure. And Admiral ... When you fight them, remember that you carry the hopes of every living world they have not yet reached." The transmission cut to static, and moments later, the massive alien vessel exploded in a flash that briefly outshone the distant sun. "Did we get the data transfer?" Zhang asked quietly. Sarah nodded, her face pale as she studied the incoming information. "Got it all, sir, and Admiral." She looked up from her screen, her expression a mixture of fear and grim satisfaction. They were right. The Devourers do have weaknesses, and I think I know how we can exploit them. Before Zhang could respond, alarms began sounding throughout the ship. The long-range sensors had detected something else. Not one massive ship, this time, but hundreds of contacts emerging from hyperspace at the edge of the system. The Devourers had arrived. "All ships," Zhang ordered, his voice carrying across the CUM system to every vessel in the solar system. "This is Admiral Zhang battle stations. Today we make our stand. Today we show the galaxy what happens when you threaten humanity's home. As the enemy fleet began its approach, Sarah uploaded the Zephyrian tactical data to every ship in the defense force. The odds were still terrible, but for the first time in 5 years, she allowed herself to believe they might actually have a chance. The battle for Earth was about to begin. Chapter 3. When humanity shows its teeth, the first Devourer ships entered Mars orbit like harbingers of extinction. Admiral Zheng watched the tactical display from the bridge of the Retribution. As enemy vessels materialized from hyperspace, each one larger than Earth's biggest dreadnought, their dark hulls seeming to absorb light rather than reflect it. The alien ships moved with predatory grace, their organic-looking forms bristling with weapons that made human technology look primitive. Count, Zhang asked quietly. 317 capital ships, reported Lieutenant Commander Park, his voice steady despite the magnitude of what they faced. A known number of fighter craft and Sir. He paused, double-checking his readings. The largest vessel is approximately 8 kilometers long. It's the size of a small city. That would be the command ship, Zhang realized. The same one the dying Zephyrian had told them about. Signal from Mars defense grid, called Torres from communications. General Hassan requests permission to engage when the enemy enters weapons range. Zhang studied the enemy formation. Devourers were advancing slowly, almost casually, as if Earth's massive defense fleet was nothing more than an amusing obstacle. They had no idea what they were flying into. Negative, Zhang replied. Tell Hassan to hold position. Let them get deeper into the system. Captain Chen moved beside him, her tablet displaying the Zephyrian tactical data they'd spent the last few hours analyzing. Sir, according to their intelligence, the Devourers always lead with psychological warfare. They want us to see their superior numbers and firepower. They expect us to break formation and scatter. Good thing humans don't scare easily, Zhang murmured. He activated the fleet-wide communication system. All ships, this is Admiral Zhang. You all know why we're here. These things have destroyed countless worlds, consumed entire civilizations. They think we'll run. They think we'll surrender. They're about to learn how wrong they are. The first enemy fighters launched from the capital ships, thousands of sleek, insect-like craft that moved in perfect coordination, but instead of charging toward Earth's defense lines, they spread out in a search pattern. They're scanning us, Sarah reported. Looking for command and control nodes, trying to identify priority targets. Let them look, Zhang said. Sarah, are you ready with our surprise? She nodded, her fingers hovering over her console. All 18 AI cores are standing by. Project Prometheus is ready to deploy. The Devourer fleet continued its approach, now passing through the asteroid belt, where its hidden missile batteries remained silent, waiting for the perfect moment. The enemy had detected them, of course. Their sensors were too advanced to miss weapons platforms the size of buildings. But what they hadn't detected were the real surprises humanity had prepared. Sir Park called out, the enemy command ship is transmitting. Universal frequency. Put it through. The bridge speakers crackled to life, and suddenly they were listening to something that might have once been a voice but now sounded like the echo of a dying star, cold, empty, and utterly alien. Primitive creatures of the third world. You have fortified your space admirably, but your efforts are futile. We are the Devourers, have consumed 1,000 civilizations across 50 galaxies. Your resistance will only prolong your suffering. Zhang activated his transmitter. This is Admiral Zhang of the Human Defense Fleet. We received your species. Calling card. The destroyed worlds you left behind, the billions of lives you've taken. Consider this our response. He cut the transmission and turned to Sarah. Now project. Prometheus activated across the entire solar system simultaneously. The 18 artificial intelligence cores that Earth's best scientists had spent 5 years developing came online. Each one networked to hundreds of ships and weapons platforms. Suddenly, humanity's defense fleet was no longer 10,000 individual vessels. It was a single, coordinated organism with the reflexes of a computer and the cunning of human military minds. The effect was immediate and devastating. The first wave of Devourer fighters encountered what they expected: human ships. firing conventional weapons with predictable timing and coordination. What they didn't expect was for every single human vessel to suddenly shift tactics in perfect unison, moving and firing with superhuman precision. "Direct hit on enemy Squadron 7, reported Park, barely containing his excitement. "Squadron 12 is breaking formation. ... Another hit. Sir, they're actually taking damage." The Zephyrian intelligence had been accurate. The Devourers were powerful. But they relied on overwhelming force rather than tactical innovation. They had never faced an enemy that could match their coordination while exceeding their adaptability. But the alien response was swift and terrifying. The Devourer capital ships opened fire, and space itself seemed to burn. Weapons that manipulated matter at the quantum level tore through Earth's defensive positions. The first human ships died in seconds, vaporized by technologies that turned steel and flesh into their component atoms. "We've lost the Defiant and Warrior's Pride," Torres reported, her voice tight. "The new Tokyo is venting atmosphere. Casualties coming in from across the fleet." Zhang gripped the arms of his command chair. This was the moment he'd dreaded, the point where Earth's defenders realized just how outmatched they were. Instead of breaking, instead of running, the human fleet did something the Devourers had never encountered before. They got angry. "All ships," Zhang broadcast, "remember your training. Remember why we're here. Every minute we hold them, every ship we take down, gives our colonies more time to prepare. We are the shield between these monsters and everything we love. Make them pay for every meter of space." The battle transformed from a tactical engagement into something primal. Human ships that should have retreated instead charged enemy positions, ramming damaged vessels into Devourer cruisers when their weapons failed. Fighter pilots whose craft were disabled activated manual overrides to turn their ships into guided missiles. And slowly, possibly, the alien advance began to stall. "Sir," Sarah called out, studying her tactical displays. "The Zephyrian data was right. Look at their command structure. When we destroy one of their capital ships, the smaller vessels lose coordination for several seconds. They're like a hive mind, but with critical vulnerabilities." Zhang saw it too. The Devourer's strength was also their weakness. All AI cores, new priority target designation, focus fire on capital ships. Ignore the fighters, take out their command nodes. The effect was dramatic. As Earth's coordinated fleet began systematically targeting Devourer command vessels, entire enemy formations began to falter. The alien fighters, deprived of their controlling intelligence, became predictable and vulnerable. But just as Zhang began to hope they might actually win this battle, the enemy command ship, the massive 8-kilometer vessel at the center of their formation, began to glow with an ominous energy. "Energy buildup detected," Park reported, his voice filled with dread. "Sir, whatever they're charging up, it's putting out more power than our entire fleet combined." Through the viewports, they could see it, a weapon forming at the front of the alien dreadnought, crackling with forces that made the space around it bend and twist. "Planet killer," Sarah whispered, staring at her readings. "They're going to sterilize Earth from orbit." Zhang made the hardest decision of his career. "All ships, emergency protocol Omega. Ramming speed, everything we have, straight at that command ship. We can't stop that weapon." Admiral Torres interrupted. "Incoming transmission from Luna Command." It's Admiral Morrison, sir." The image of Earth's overall military commander appeared on screen, broadcasting from the moon's heavily fortified command center. His expression was grim, but determined. "Zhang, we see the situation. Luna Command has one more card to play."
Al Morrison's
Image flickered as explosions rocked his command center. "We've been working on something since this war began. If you can keep that command ship busy for 90 more seconds." The transmission cut out, but Zhang understood. Luna Command had been the most secretive of Earth's defense projects. Whatever they had built there, it was humanity's final gambit. "All ships," Zhang ordered. "Give Morrison his 90 seconds. Everything you have, right at that command ship." The human fleet charged straight into the teeth of the Devourer formation. ships exploding left and right as they pushed toward their target. The alien planet killer weapon continued to charge, its glow now visible to the naked eye. 80 seconds, 70, 60, and then. From the moon's surface, something launched that defied every law of physics Zhang thought he understood. A projectile moving at a significant fraction of light speed, accelerated by technology that made their best. Weapons looked like stone tools. The relativistic kill vehicle struck the Devourer command ship exactly 47 seconds later. The explosion that followed lit up the entire solar system. Chapter 4. The Price of Victory in the Aftermath of the command ship's destruction. Space around Earth became a graveyard of twisted metal and dreams. Admiral Zheng stood in the damaged bridge of the Retribution, watching as rescue ships moved between the debris fields, searching for survivors. The great battle was over, but the cost. The cost had been devastating. Final casualty reports, Sir Lieutenant Torres said quietly, her voice hoarse from hours of coordinating rescue operations. We've lost 63% of the fleet. 7,000 ships destroyed, including most of our capital vessels. Estimated casualties? She paused, unable to continue. 2 million dead? Captain Chen finished softly. 2 million of our people gave their lives to stop them here. Zhang nodded slowly, staring out at the expanding cloud of debris that had once been the most powerful fleet in human history. The numbers were staggering, almost incomprehensible. But they had won. Against impossible odds, humanity had stood firm and broken a force that had consumed galaxies. What's the status of the surviving Devourer forces? He asked. Scattered and retreating, reported Park from what remained of the tactical station. Without their command ship, their coordination completely collapsed. Our AI cores estimate that less than 30% of their fleet escaped the system. And sir, a rare smile crossed his face. Long-range sensors show they're not regrouping, they're running. Sarah looked up from her analysis station, exhaustion evident in every line of her face. I've been studying the wreckage of their ships, trying to understand their technology. Admiral, I don't think the Devourers were a natural species. Their ships, their coordination, their complete lack of individual initiative. I believe they were created, programmed, a weapon, Zhang asked. More like a tool. A galaxy-spanning harvesting operation designed to consume organic life and convert it to something else. But whoever created them built in a fatal flaw. They could only function as a collective intelligence. Take out the command structure, and they become helpless. Zhang processed this information slowly. If Sarah was right, then the Devourers weren't evil in any way humans could understand. They were simply following their programming, like a virus spreading through a computer system. But that didn't make their victims any less dead, or humanity's victory any less important. Signal from Earth, Torres announced. President Martinez wants to address the fleet. The main screen flickered to life, showing the president speaking from the heavily damaged chambers of the Global Defense Council. Behind her, Zhang could see technicians working frantically to repair systems that had been overloaded during the battle. Admiral Zhang, Captain Chen, and all the brave souls of our defense fleet. President Martinez began, her voice carrying across space to every surviving ship. What you have accomplished today will echo through history, not just human history, but the history of every living world in this galaxy. She paused, looking directly at the camera. We have received transmissions from across known space. The destruction of the Devourer command fleet has been detected by dozens of civilizations. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy's organic species have hope again. The president's expression grew more somber. But victory has come at a terrible price. Every person who died today died defending not just Earth, not just humanity, but the very concept of life itself. They will be remembered, they will be honored, and their sacrifice will not be forgotten. Zhang closed his eyes for a moment, thinking of all the ships that weren't coming home, all the families that would never be whole again. The weight of command had never felt heavier. Admiral President Martinez continued, preliminary reports suggest that this was not the entire Devourer force. Intelligence indicates there may be other fleets operating in distant galaxies. Earth Defense Command is authorizing the construction of a new fleet. Bigger. It's more advanced and equipped with everything we've learned from this battle, Sarah stepped forward. Ma'am, what about the other species? The survivors like the Zephyrians? An excellent question, Captain. We've already received diplomatic overtures from 17 different civilizations. It seems that humanity's willingness to stand and fight has impressed the galaxy. For the first time in their recorded history, organic species are talking about forming an alliance, united defense against any remaining devourer forces. Zhang opened his eyes, studying the president's face. What are you saying, ma'am? Saying that humanity has just become the de facto military leader of the galactic community. They want us to help them build fleets, teach them our tactics, show them how to fight as we fought today. Admiral Zhang. She smiled, and for a moment, the exhaustion on her face was replaced by something that might have been pride. Congratulations. You've just won humanity its place among the stars. The transmission ended, leaving the bridge in contemplative silence. Around them, the rescue operations continued, and slowly, the survivors of Earth's great fleet began the long journey home. So what happens now? Torres asked quietly. Zhang looked out at the stars, thinking about the Zephyrian world speaker who had died, bringing them crucial intelligence about the 2 million humans who had given their lives to protect their home, about the countless species across the galaxy who might now have a chance to survive because of what had happened here. Now we rebuild, he said simply. We honor our dead by making sure their sacrifice mattered. Now we help our new allies prepare for whatever threats might still be out there. And we make sure that no species ever again has to face extinction alone. Sarah nodded, already thinking about the technological marvels they had captured from the Devourer wreckage. The advances that could be shared with their new galactic allies. The Prometheus AI cores performed beyond all expectations. We can integrate some of the Devourer technology. We'll be stronger than ever, Zhang finished. But more importantly, we'll be united. The galaxy's organic species have been isolated for too long, each fighting alone when REITs emerged. That ends now. As the Retribution began its slow journey back to Earth, Zhang reflected on the strange turns that had brought them to this moment. 5 years ago, humanity had been alone in the universe, unaware that thousands of other civilizations existed among the stars. Today, they were the acknowledged protectors of organic life across the galaxy. It was a responsibility that would have seemed impossible to bear except for one simple fact. When faced with extinction, humanity had not run, they had not surrendered, they had not despaired, they had fought, and they had won. The battle for Earth was over. But Admiral Zhang suspected that humanity's real adventures among the stars were just beginning. Epilogue. A new dawn, 6 months after the battle for Earth. Captain Sarah Chen stood on the observation deck of the newly constructed Unity Station, watching as ships from a dozen different species worked together to build the galaxy's first joint defense platform. The sight still amazed her, Zephyrian organic vessels growing new components alongside human engineering craft, while crystalline Vorthan ships provided power from their fusion hearts. Remarkable, isn't it? Said a voice behind her. Sarah turned to see Admiral Zhang approaching, his uniform now bearing the insignia of the Galactic Defense Alliance, a position that would have been unimaginable just a year before. The diversity is incredible, Sarah agreed, gesturing toward the construction efforts. Every species brings something unique to the table. The Zephyrians' biological technology, the Vorthan's energy manipulation, the Kepler Collective's computational abilities. Combined with human tactical doctrine, we're building something that could stand against any threat. Zhang nodded, but his expression was thoughtful. Any conventional threat. But I keep thinking about what you discovered in the Devourer wreckage. If they were created by someone or something, then their creators might still be out there, Sarah finished. It was a concern that had haunted her for months. The Devourer technology was incredibly advanced, but it showed clear signs of being designed by an even more sophisticated intelligence. The good news is that we're not facing it alone anymore. They could see Earth in the distance, its blue surface now surrounded by the largest orbital shipyard network in known space. Human engineering principles had proven remarkably compatible with alien technology, leading to hybrid designs that exceeded the capabilities of any single species. "Report from the Outer Rim," Zhang said, consulting his tablet, Admiral Patterson's. "Expeditionary fleet has made contact with 3 more civilizations. 3 had suffered Devourer attacks in the past and are eager to join the Alliance." Sarah smiled at that. The Galactic Defense Alliance had grown from an emergency cooperation agreement to a true interstellar federation in just 6 months. Humanity's refusal to back down in the face of extinction had resonated across the galaxy, inspiring species that had hidden in fear for centuries to finally stand together. "Any word from the deep space exploration teams?" she asked. "Developments there too?" Captain Torres' team found evidence of a massive battle in the Andromeda spiral arm. Ancient wreckage, possibly millions of years old. Whatever civilization fought there, they put up one hell of a fight before they fell. Sarah considered this information. Every month brought new discoveries about the galaxy's violent past. Evidence of ancient wars between organic life and forces that sought to destroy it. The Devourers hadn't been the first threat, and they probably wouldn't be the last. But for the first time in galactic history, organic species weren't facing these threats alone. Sarah, Zhang said quietly, "Do you ever regret it? Giving up your research career to join the military?" She thought about that question seriously. 5 years ago, she had been a xenosignal analyst, content to listen to the cosmos from her isolated station. Now, she was one of the leading experts on alien technology integration, helping to design weapons and defenses that would protect dozens of worlds. "No," she said finally. "Abby." The research was important, but this is about survival, not just for humanity, but for the concept of life itself. Besides, she smiled, "I'm still doing research. It's just research with more immediate applications." An alert chime sounded through the station, and both officers automatically turned toward the nearest communication panel. "All senior staff to the command center," came the announcement. "Priority transmission from deep space." Sarah and Zhang exchanged glances and quickly made their way to Unity Station's main command center. The facility was a marvel of integrated technology, human holographic displays working alongside Zephyrian biointerfaces and Vorthon crystal matrices. The duty officer, a young lieutenant named Harrison, looked up as they entered. "Sir, we're receiving a transmission from the edge of the galaxy. It's well, it's unlike anything we've seen before." "Show us," Zhang ordered. The main display activated, showing a star map with a pulsing signal originating from the very edge of known space. The signal was powerful, clearly artificial, and broadcasting on frequencies that no known species used. "Distance?" Sarah asked. "Approximately 50,000 light-years," Harrison replied. "But sir, the transmission is arriving through quantum entanglement relays. Whoever sent this has technology that makes even the Devourers look primitive." Zhang studied the readings carefully. "What's the message content?" "That's the interesting part, sir. It's in basic mathematical sequences, the kind of universal language that any technological civilization would recognize. And it's an invitation." "To what?" Sarah asked, though part of her already suspected the answer. Harrison manipulated the display, translating the mathematical sequences into readable text. The message was simple, but its implications were staggering. Asterisk, asterisk, greetings. Defenders of organic life. Asterisk, 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 your victory against the harvest units has been observed. Asterisk, 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 the Galaxy Builders welcome you to the greater community. Asterisk, 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 coordinates 4. Contact follow. Asterisk, 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 prepare for wonders beyond imagining. The command center fell silent as everyone absorbed the implications of the message. Somewhere out there, at the very edge of the galaxy, ancient intelligences had been watching the recent events unfold. The Devourers had been just the beginning. Sir Harrison continued, "There's more. The signal includes technical specifications for a faster-than-light communication system that could connect every world in the Alliance instantaneously and ... He paused, double-checking his readings. Instructions for building something they call a galaxy gate. The power requirements are enormous, but with our combined technology, we could travel to other galaxies, Sarah whispered, meet these galaxy builders face to face. Zhang was quiet for a long moment, considering the magnitude of what they had just learned. Humanity had gone from being alone in the universe to leading a galactic alliance to potentially making contact with beings whose technology spanned multiple galaxies. "What do we know about these galaxy builders?" he asked finally. Sarah was already pulling up analysis data on her tablet. "Based on the transmission patterns and the technological specifications they've provided, I'd estimate their civilization is at least 1 million years old, possibly much older. The fact that they refer to the Devourers as harvest units suggests they're familiar with this type of threat. Or, Zhang said grimly, they're the ones who created the Devourers in the first place." The possibility hung in the air like a toxic cloud. If the Galaxy Builders were responsible for the Devourers, then this invitation could be a trap on an unimaginable scale. "Sir?" Lieutenant Harrison interjected. "There's something else in the transmission. Historical data about what they call the cycle of harvest. According to this, the Devourers aren't unique. They're part of a pattern that's been repeating for millions of years across the universe." Sarah felt a chill run down her spine. "Show me." The display shifted to show a timeline spanning millions of years and thousands of galaxies. Each entry marked the rise of organic civilizations, their eventual discovery by harvest units like the Devourers, and then ... silence. "Every galaxy goes through the same pattern," Harrison explained. "Organic life evolves, develops technology, reaches a certain threshold of advancement, and then encounters the harvest units. Most civilizations fall. Few fight back and win isolated battles, but no galaxy has ever successfully broken the cycle." "Until now," Zhang said quietly. "Until now," Sarah agreed. "We didn't just defeat a Devourer fleet. We united organic species across an entire galaxy for the first time in recorded history. We broke the pattern." Zhang studied the star map showing the location of the Galaxy Builder's signal. The coordinates were far beyond any point that human or allied ships had ever traveled. Reaching them would require technology that didn't yet exist, even with their recent advances. "Recommendations?" he asked. Sarah looked around the command center at the mixed crew of humans and aliens working together, with an efficiency that would have been impossible just months ago. "I think we have to respond, sir. The Galaxy Builders have been watching this cycle repeat for millions of years. They might have knowledge that could help us prepare for whatever comes next. And if they're hostile, ... she shrugged. "Then we're already in their crosshairs anyway," agreed, Zhang said. "But we approach this carefully. We build the communication system they've provided. Specifications for establish contact and learn what we can before making any commitments." He activated the station's communication system, broadcasting to every world in the Alliance. "This is Admiral Zhang of Unity Station. By now, you've all received reports of the transmission from the galaxy's edge. The Galactic Defense Alliance Council will convene in 72 hours to discuss our response. Until then, I'm authorizing immediate research into the provided technical specifications. If we're going to make contact with these Galaxy Builders, We're going to do it on our terms. As the command center buzzed with activity, Sarah found herself thinking about the chain of events that had brought them to this moment. A single distress signal from a dying alien civilization had set in motion changes that would reshape the entire galaxy. And now they stood on the threshold of something even greater. Sarah Jong said, approaching her as the initial excitement died down. I want you to lead the technical analysis team. If anyone can figure out whether this invitation is genuine or a trap, it's you. She nodded, already mentally organizing the research priorities. I'll need access to our best xenotechnology experts and the most advanced AI cores. This is going to require combining human intuition with alien perspectives. Done, and Sarah. Jung's expression was serious. Whatever these galaxy builders are, whatever they want, remember that we've already proven something important. When organic life works together, when we refuse to give up in the face of impossible odds, we can accomplish miracles. Sarah smiled, thinking about the 2 million humans who had died defending Earth. The Zephyrian world speaker who had sacrificed his ship to bring them crucial intelligence, and the countless Alliance members now working together to build a better future. Yes, sir, can. As Unity Station continued its slow orbit around Earth, construction crews from a dozen species worked through the night to build humanity's next great leap into the unknown. The battle for Earth had been won, but the war for the future of organic life in the universe was just beginning, and for the first time in galactic history, that life had champions who refused to back down. The stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter, as if the universe itself approved of what was being built in the space around the small blue world that had dared to fight back against extinction. In the deep laboratories, beneath Unity Station, scientists and engineers began the delicate work of building a communication system that could reach across the galaxy in real time. Soon, humanity and its allies would speak with beings whose civilization predated their entire evolutionary history. The conversation that followed would determine the fate of not just one galaxy, but potentially all organic life in the universe. And somewhere in the vast darkness between galaxies, ancient intelligences waited patiently for the response. They had been anticipating for a very long time. The age of humanity's isolation was over. The age of galactic unity had begun. And the greatest adventure in the history of life itself was about to unfold.